Wait, what's going on YouTube? It's Donnie all day. So, here's the deal. I wanted to do a video today of my top 5 like camp survival type knives within a parameter of 4 to 6 inches in the blade. So, if I was just going to do top 5 camp, I mean, I have so many camp knives of different size and stature. It would be easier to break it down. So, I have my top 5 favorite camp knives with blades ranging in between 4 and 6 inches. So I'm going to start with, I think, the smallest one in my group, or it could be pretty close to the smallest. It may be, it is the smallest. Okay, so the smallest one in my group. And you'll know how good the rest of the 4 are going to be when you see this one, because this was one of my favorite knife designing companies, Bradford. I mean, the Guardian 4. This knife is immaculate. I love this thing. So this would be more survival than all-out camp. This is not, you're not going to be chopping wood with this thing. If you had to choke up and do mini chops, absolutely you could do that. We did that on video. But this isn't going to be your crazy chopper. And again, this category is 4 to 6 inches in blade length. So while the 6 inch or close to 6 inch blades are going to be able to chop better, they're not all necessarily chopped. They're all around camp knives. So can I cut my steak? Can I skin the animal? Can I prepare my fire? Can I, do all the things necessary to keep a camp going? The Guardian 4, even though it's almost more semi-bushcraft, and I have 2 knives here that are closer to bushcraft than camp, and yes, there is bushcraft to survival. Yes, there's a difference between camp bushcraft and camp survival, but they're close enough to where they can fit in the same category. So, and believe me, if it wasn't, I would have probably said the steel wheel roamer. If I was really going down the lines where I was going to be nitpicking wordage, right? The steel wheel roamer would have probably been it. But it's not. The Bradford, I mean, this thing is just so nice. If you've never picked up a Guardian 4, and they come with sculpted scales, for some reason this stuff really spoke to me. They're slab scales, which means there's no contouring. It's just a flat slab scale, but done oh so well. It's the blade on these. The blade is just phenomenal. The way they do it, how they do it, everything about it is N690 awesomeness. It really is. This thing is just phenomenal. So my 5th favorite 4 to 6 inch camp knife, camp survival knife, is going to be right here, the Bradford Guardian 4. I love that knife. No, that will not be for sale. My second one, and I hate to make this a second one because the last 4 are pretty much equal. Like literally, they're all equal to me. There's not one I like better than the other. But we're going to go right here. 1095 steel, which I freaking love. This is, and you can see my compass on there and my ferro rod and all that jazz, because I love this knife. My Esee 6. My Esee 6 is freaking awesome. Everything about this knife is something to love. You can chop with it, you can baton with it. The only one you can't really chop with so far is the Bradford, I think. It's the only one that's not, it's probably the least chopping of all. I have one more that's an okay chopper, but it can get the job done. I did it. But this knife, I mean, you could compare this to the the Ontario 7. But hold on, I got a phone call coming in. Yeah, so you can compare this to the Ontario 7, which I did on film, and this thing is just better. The Ontario 7 is bigger, but this one has a better fit and finish, better heat treat. The scales they just feels better in the hand. It's just a better knife. It really is. But this, and it comes with a much better sheath. This right here, man, this is one of the top dogs. This knife will never be for sale from me. And then I almost broke it. So next, man, it's really hard to pick, like, out of these four, like, what should go next. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna save my newest two for last, and I'll show you one that I use quite often. This is the dbad Camp Master. I mean, this gets used quite often. This knife is, I mean, this is probably out of the bunch is the best chopper. Because of the finger grooves, I can hold it way down, and all of a sudden this becomes a 12-inch knife, and you can just hack. But the beautiful drop point leaf shape just makes it work. This thing, it's so comfortable. It just, it feels so good. This is definitely one of my favorites. 5160 steel, rosewood handles, just an absolute beast of a knife. It is an everything that you need a camp knife to be type knife. I love it. I absolutely love this knife. This one gets a crazy amount of use. You can probably tell by the scratches on there. This knife is no stranger to the yard or to the camp. It's just fantastic. It's fantastic. This one goes out with me a lot. This one and another one that I bring out with me, even though I would have brought it out, but it's not A, in the class, and B, the blade's too long for this. But the dbad War Machine, designed to be like the combat fighting knife, the utility knife, but it's an amazing camp knife. But right here, my dbad Camp Master. Man, I love it. So the next one, and no, I will not be selling that knife. The next one I just brought to you, Walter Matthews signed. This is 1075 high carbon steel, the Condor Toki. Holy Moses, is this thing nice. I talked about the two perfect knives, and those are the two perfect knives that I have here. The SE6 is pretty much one of those knives. It's as close to perfect as you can get without being these last two. But the Toki, this thing is so good. Now, while it's not a chopper, I was able to link on to the end of this and get some pretty good chops yesterday when I did the review, or the day before, whenever it was, and it worked out really well. This knife is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. There's just nothing that Walter Matthews could have done to make this knife better. He just killed it straight out of the box. And this one, I believe, is I think around 4.5 inches in the blade length. I think I might be wrong. It's just about 5 inches. Okay, so very close. The Guardian 4 is 4 inches, I believe. Maybe it's 4.5. I don't know. And this one's just a little bit bigger. This knife, while it's only this size, it performs like a huge knife. I could trust my life any day, well, on any of these knives, but I could trust my life any day of the week with this thing. I know no matter what, it's just going to keep on going. No, this is not for sale. Well, you can buy your own, but I am not selling it. And so the last one is one that, another one I found at Blade Show. I think it's probably one of the most perfect knives. And normally you don't put black on like a camp knife because people whine about the black coating. But no, it doesn't matter. The black coating is just fine. This right here, is this 1095 steel or is it something else? I think it's 1095. It could be something else. I can't remember off the top of my head, but this is the Command Outpost by Tops Knives. This knife is another one where I just did the test on, and holy Moses, this thing performed like a dream. It is a great knife. This I got extra because Tops Knives, a lot of them come with this, and while I'm not a big fan of that, I'm a monster fan of this. So my top five camp knives that if I was in the stuff that I would have to rely on to literally survive. What in this blade range would I trust the most? Well, the tops, Outpost Command. Gosh, I love this knife. The dbad, this guy. The dbad Camp Master. I absolutely love this knife. I designed it, so I better love it. So that, and then, I don't know how I'm going to hold these all up, but let's see. The Esee 6. Wonderful, wonderful, great knife. Another black coated knife that is made for this kind of purpose. People just, I don't know, people like to whine about things, I think. So then the Toki by Condor, and the Guardian 4 by Bradford. This right here is my top 5 camp survival knives with a blade range of 4 to 6 inches. Any single one of these knives right here will keep you alive forever in the woods. No joke. All right, so that's it. These things are beasts. I'm out of here. I am Donnie B all day. Till next video.